Mercedes says the title battle doesn't deserve it, Red Bull says it cares about the Formula 1 Championship being settled the right way. But what happens if a collision decides the fight between Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton? Verstappen and Hamilton arrive in Abu Dhabi level on points at the end of an astonishing 2021 season, which sets up a winner-takes-all finale. The permutations are simple. Verstappen will be champion if he beats Hamilton, or if they end the weekend still level on points, as he will win on countback with 9 victories to Hamilton's 8. Hamilton needs to outscore Verstappen to score an unprecedented 8th world title. And at the end of a season in which the two adversaries have collided 3 times and had several more run-ins, the possibility of a controversial finale cannot be discounted. That has been underlined by the decision by FIA Formula 1 race director Michael Masi to issue a reminder that the threat of a points deduction looms for any unsporting conduct. If both drivers finish in the top 10, then any advantage gained by causing a collision, forcing another driver off the track, or performing an illegal overtake could decide the title. And as he would be champion if neither driver scored points, the hypothetical what if they collide scenario could be considered code for what if Verstappen causes an accident. But the fact is, both drivers have been punished this year for causing a collision with the other, and it's possible that, intentionally or not, they could do so again this weekend. The available punishments are wide-ranging, with the main ones specifically outlined in the sporting regulations being 5 and 10-second time penalties, a drive-through penalty, a 10-second stop-go, and disqualification from the event. But Hamilton and Verstappen have been the dominant forces this season. They've finished first and second 13 times in 21 races, so a small time penalty for either is unlikely to make much difference to their race result if the other driver has been wiped out. If, for example, Hamilton causes a collision that ends Verstappen's race, chances are a 5 or 10-second time penalty isn't going to stop him scoring the single point he'd need to take the title in those circumstances. And as for Verstappen with his countback advantage, if he takes out Hamilton, then none of the available in-race penalties, or a grid penalty or disqualification or a ban, would deny him the championship. What would make a difference in both those hypothetical situations is a points deduction. And while that is not specified in the sporting regulations, the stewards are allowed to impose any penalty available to them in the FIA International Sporting Code, and that includes deducting points. Masi has chosen 4 specific parts to include in his pre-race event notes that get distributed to everybody on a Grand Prix Thursday. These are Article 9.15.1, which covers the responsibility a team has for their driver and basically every single team member during the course of an event. Article 12.2.1 covers breaches of rules, and in particular a subsection that covers any infringement of the principles of fairness in competition, behaviour in an unsportsmanlike manner, or attempt to influence the result of a competition in a way that is contrary to sporting ethics. Article 12.4.5 gives the stewards power to deduct points, and a secondary element to that article ties points deductions to both the driver and team, apart from in exceptional circumstances. The implication is clear. Win or try to win this title through improper means and you run the risk of serious punishment. That goes for the team as well as the driver. Remember, the Constructors' Championship is still up for grabs, even if Mercedes is a clear favourite with a 28-point lead. It may seem sensible for a driver deemed to have caused a championship-deciding collision to be handed a punishment that prevents them from gaining from it. But several times this year, the FIA has reiterated that the consequences of the incident should not have a bearing on the punishment given out. That's been criticised most notably when Hamilton was able to win the British Grand Prix despite getting a 10-second time penalty for causing the contact that ended Verstappen's race. So the fact is, the season finale is being treated differently. Hamilton says he's happy to see that. He says collisions have happened in the past and that this kind of preemptive reminder from the FIA is a sensible step that probably hasn't been taken before. Verstappen was a little more blunt. He says he knows what's in the sporting code and the FIA doesn't need to remind people of it because it's nothing new. But that's probably because he's still bristling over recent stewards' decisions and feels hard done by. Verstappen's adamant he's being treated differently after being on the receiving end of several punishments in Saudi Arabia for multiple transgressions in battle with Hamilton. We're going to pause our video for a moment to ask if you've enjoyed this explainer so far to hit the thumbs up button, and if you're a fan of our videos then please subscribe as well. It really makes a difference to us, plus we'd love to have you back for more videos. Right, interruption over, let's get back to this one. Verstappen fans have already picked up on the perceived unfairness of different rules being applied for the finale. They will ask why Hamilton, for example, did not have to lose points at Silverstone. We can infer the reason why is because of the serious nature of intentional foul play when one race will decide everything. Evidently, the FIA sees previous incidents as isolated examples of dealing with bad driving, such as punishing Hamilton for the contact with Verstappen at Silverstone or Verstappen for the crash that ended both their races at Monza. Now the integrity of the championship is on the line, so the FIA has moved to stress the importance of that. And at the same time, this is an all or nothing situation. So the drivers need to know there is the potential for a greater sanction than normal because the events of this weekend cannot be offset anywhere else and the consequences have to be intensified to match that. Of course, any action from the stewards will unlikely be the end of the matter because each team will almost certainly appeal a decision with the FIA's international court if it decided the title either way. And there's one final, if unlikely, element to consider. If the stewards fail to act in a manner that appropriately handles a title-deciding collision, there is precedent for the FIA itself to step in proactively. Before the 1997 F1 title decider in Jerez, FIA President Max Mosley said that anyone who attempted to influence the title battle would be punished. Michael Schumacher deliberately drove into title rival Jacques Villeneuve in an attempt to decide the fight in his favour. He failed and that incident was dismissed by the stewards at the time, but was subsequently reopened by a special FIA disciplinary hearing. Even though he only finished second, the FIA still decided to exclude Schumacher from the championship standings and was adamant it would have done the same if he'd won the title. So that kind of action presumably cannot be ruled out in 2021. But what do you think? Is the FIA getting worried about nothing and are we blowing this out of proportion? Or is the fact that Hamilton and Verstappen only collided a few days ago proof that this was absolutely necessary? Have your say in the comments and also let us know how you'd handle one of the title rivals driving into the other to win the championship. If you like this video, give us a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button and turn notifications on, and we'll see you again in the future for another video.